Dean, no, really, I'm not. If you don't mind, guys, I might just hold on. Scratch along with my notes for the first part. Until I get comfortable, if that's okay.
That accent, we're fine.
A lovely person. I've got to admit, I was a little bit nervous about giving the talk because when Anna told me that the theme of the evening was passion, I was thinking, I was going to be thinking, why is there an Englishman standing at the front? An Italian maybe, but that might have worked, but an Englishman. And not only an Englishman, but an Englishman that publishes books about business and finance. It's passion and Englishman, they don't go there. And in my defence, and despite the somewhat round corporate exterior, I can promise you that beating inside there's a passionate publisher here that cares very much about creative writing and the whole creative process. I think no matter what you publish, I mean, I have experience of publishing business, finance, travel, history books, celebrity books even. I think in every instance, you're trying to draw readers into your world and captivate them. And I think that's the aim, no matter what type of publishing you're doing. The biggest challenge that I have, perhaps in non-fiction, is that I have a lot of authors that are very intelligent, smart, driven guys with an urge to convey a message. However, they're not always the most articulate people. So this is where the publisher and ghostwriters actually come into the equation. Since a lot of you here tonight are writers or you have an interest in writing, I thought I might just quickly go through a few ways in which Wiley worked with writers on books. Some of these ideas may not be so familiar to you, so they probably will be, but some of them maybe it'll be something we can learn anyway. While some of the projects aren't exactly glamorous, they could provide skilled writers with enough bread and butter money to allow you to indulge your real passion for the type of writing you really do enjoy. I've prepared a few slides because I am, after all, a business publisher. So this is just a little bit about Wiley, so that you know who we are. We're probably most famous for publishing dummies guides, actually, so you'll probably know who you are. Thank you. Well, the dummies and the frommers are probably the most well-known. And here in Asia, I mean, we're the global leader in business and finance publishing. We work with a lot of big organisations, MasterCard, Wellington, Citibank, Reuters. Recently we signed up with Bloomberg, so we're going to be publishing all Bloomberg's books as well globally, so that's kind of an interesting development. But coming on to the commercial writing opportunities, which I think is what might be interesting for some of you here. I thought I'd start with ghostwriting, because ghostwriting, I always think, is a pretty nice thing if you can get it. About 10 years ago, Wiley published Bloomberg by Bloomberg, and there's the ghostwriter for this was a chap called Matthew Winkley, and in fact you can't see it on here, but in fact the guy does get credited. I think it says something like "My Bloomberg with invaluable help from Matthew Winkley." And I always think it must be a bit of a poison chalice for this poor guy that got given the job of a ghostwriter to Mike Bloomberg. Because for one thing, he was Mike Bloomberg is his boss, and secondly, it's Mike Bloomberg, which, as you may know, is a rather difficult character to work with. But anyway, I paid a nice lump sum of money for that, and that went well. The other titles here are titles I commissioned in Asia, all of which have had ghostwriters. The Entrepreneur was one of the first books I commissioned when I came back out to Singapore in 1999. The guy Bill Heineke, he's one of the wealthiest guys in Thailand, very, very interesting, fascinating guy. He runs some of the most amazing hotels in Thailand and in fact the world. And we wanted to do a book about this amazing story that he had to tell. And obviously when you're paying billions of dollars, you don't have time to write a book. So I teamed him up with a guy, John Marsh, from South Carolina College of Journalists. And this guy had a fantastic time. Basically, he spent 2 weeks with Bill Heineke and flying around in his private jet, stayed in all his nicest 5-star hotels. And whenever Bill had a spare moment or an evening, they would sit down over dinner, lunch, and talk about the book of his life. And John wrote it up again. So he paid a lump sum of money, plus on top of that, He also got to fly around, hang out, have a nice time. So there's some pretty nice gigs you can get, you know, as a ghostwriter. The other two aren't quite so exciting. They were both books from McKinsey, which started off as reports. But the other side of this, if you're a ghostwriter, in books like Franklin Asia Life Insurance, is you're basically given a core of a book which used to be a report, which is maybe 30,000 words, and then you work with the McKinsey team to batch it up to 80,000 words for commercial release. And the pay on these things is phenomenal. At the end, I'll tell you what you'll get paid for these various jobs. You might be kind of interested to see what it pays, because that's quite nice. And the final one is Mark Mobius, who you may know, is one of the most famous investment guys, and we came up with this concept of a series branded by him. And Mark sort of works closely with the ghostwriter to put these books, and again, it's quite nice. Sponsored books is another something that's becoming increasingly popular for us as a form of publishing. Usually these are branded books, Citibank, MasterCard, CNBC, San Reno, who own Hello Kitty, which is one of my favourites out of Japan, which is kind of a fun one. Mercedes-Benz, Guinness. You can see where my tastes are here, you know, weird effects, you know, fast cars. But again, with these, we usually approach a company and say to them, you know, perhaps you'd like to write a book with us, or publish a book with us, you're promoting yourself, your products. They pay the ghostwriter to actually write the book, and then usually the writer will stay closer with the corporate communications team of the company, and then we publish the book, they buy it back, everybody's happy. It's quite a nice arrangement. Okay, this is dull, but dull but worth it. These throughout Asia, there are certification materials that are, there are certificates being run by various organisations in Asia, and the material they use is just horrible. I mean, it's really, really lousy. So we say to these guys, you know, why don't you let us come in, repackage everything for you, we'll give you a professional writer. You know, Wiley, we're one of the largest publishers in the world. You can cut and paste material from any Wiley book anywhere in the world. You know, we can pull that in, add local case studies, and so these sort of projects are sort of packaging. It's a sort of packaging, project management, development, editor, and writer all rolled into one. But we've had a Filipino guy actually in Hong Kong, who's been doing these books, these two series for the last year. And unfortunately, he's found more lucrative work these days. So we have a couple of similar projects in the pipeline. We're actually looking for writers, so there's a shameless plug there. You know, private help for writers to work on these projects. So you can talk afterwards if you're interested. Okay, now this is maybe where things get a bit more exciting and a bit more interesting. With regards to e-publishing, you know, the revolution is you know, very much here now. I think for a long time there was a very simple publishing model. You know, we would open with a case book, and then after 6 months, you know, the book's sold well, you go from case to paperback. You're those, you know. And the paperback never sell all the language rights for the book, so again, that's another nice source of revenue. And then after a while, maybe 2 years down the line, we do a new edition of the book that we release in some new form or put it out in print. But that model is pretty much going out the window now. The whole e-publishing revolution has just changed everything. If you're a publisher like Wiley, you know, we're sitting here and we're 200 years old. We've got 200 years worth of content just sitting there, sort of, you know, intellectual property bank. And so we're looking at now at e-books and thinking, or online formats, and thinking, okay, you know, how do we splice and dice this information, sort of chuck it into different formats to make reach the widest possible audience and, you know, generate the most revenue. And there's actually some very exciting opportunities here for writers, because again, you know, we need somebody to exactly package and access all this information that we have. I mean, e-books tend to be quite straightforward, but mobile apps, condensed books, enhanced e-books, you know, there are all some fantastic opportunities here, actually, I think. Okay, and the fun part is the typical revenue for writers, because you're probably quite interested to know what writers earn from some of these projects.
Wait, the drum roll, mate.
Oh, the drum.
Zero!
Okay, right. ghostwriting. Okay, for the ghostwriting projects, I've got quite a wide range of there from 5k to 20k, and the reason is that the 5k, the bottom end, that tends to be where we get a really bad manuscript. So we may not start off actually meaning this to be a ghostwriting effort, but actually we'll get a manuscript. Sometimes it's more than a writing effort, so you've got to go start again really. So that's lower end, maybe 5,000 to 8,000 US is fairly typical for that. The 20,000 is where you get, one of the consulting companies like McKinsey or somebody, and you work closely with these guys. And these guys have money, and to get the quality of the book, it reflects on their brand. They pay some quite nice money for these projects. The sponsored books that I talked about, again, that's in the sort of range of 10 to 15,000, something like that. And what usually happens with the sponsored books, the company itself will pay the lump sum to the author, and they usually pay half up front on signature, half on delivering the manuscript when everybody's happy, if everybody's happy. And they don't get royalties, so the royalties will go to the company, and they use that to offset the money that they pay. So maybe Starbucks should do a book. Anyway, next one. Sorry. The adopted words. I put 5 to 12, but actually I would say they average around $10,000 US per book. But the nice thing about these projects is that they tend to come in series. So if we give the project to somebody, you may land 8 to 10 books at one time. So if you can put together a team of maybe 3 people to do the whole series, I mean, $50,000, $80,000 US, can keep someone happy and reading for a while, which is quite nice. E-books, I've broken this out actually, if you want it to it's okay. We've got the condensed books around 3 to 5k, apps 1 to 2k. Yeah, a lot depends on what exactly the publisher is asking. You look a bit upset that there's only 1 to 2k for apps. I'm sorry. They tend to be very short, and often it's just drawing down the information and repackaging it. And so, that is a very quick overview anyway of some of the type of projects that we need writers for, I guess, where the demand is for writers. And we're always looking for new writers in the publishing industry. There's always a high turnover, people coming out of the region, they want their jobs. So afterwards, if anybody would like to talk about writing opportunities for Wiley, we'll be very happy to talk to you.
Someone like me would be someone.
I'm signing up.
Actually, I have a couple of projects, illustrator books that I didn't mention, which, so we can talk about.
Let's do it.
Okay, thank you very much.